You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Hello and welcome to the Mushie Moment with myself and my awesome co-host, Reverend Cindy. We're live today on Tuesday, July 11th, 2023 on paceradio.net, CBG TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, Boxcast, Roku, and Firestick. How are you doing, Cindy?
Good morning, Steve. Well, I'm over my panic attack now, so because we're all here, so we're good. This was the closest we've ever cut it, and my poor heart was pounding pretty hard. We had some technical issues. Steve couldn't hear me, and then we were waiting for Ashley to come in the room, and poor Cindy was like going, "Oh my God, it's all going to be late," but we were okay.
And boom, oh,
and I'm having a good giggle at myself. So yeah. Besides that, everything else today has been hectic as well because it's the day before I get on a plane. And the day before I get on the plane, everything seems to be hectic. How are you?
I'm doing most awesome. I've been able to spend time with our next guest. She's been, her and her son were tripping around and they managed to come up here into BC and they've decided to hang out for a little bit, and we've been quite enjoying the time. It's been very integrative.
She is an integration specialist, so I can imagine it has been.
Yes, I have to say it's been actually pretty damn awesome.
Excellent. I can't wait to be there tomorrow with you guys.
I just had another friend just leave. I had actually Ashley and my friend Tara both out. And then, we did the Wreck Beach, went down to Wreck Beach, hung out for a sunset. And then she headed off on her way. And now you're coming back in. And, we'll have to give you that same kind of experience where you get to go down, just watch that sunset down on the middle of. Awesome.
Yeah, with all of my trips there, I actually haven't done that yet. I've done a lot of walking around parks and whatnot, but I haven't spent a lot of time down on the beach to see the sunrise or set. So that would be very cool.
Hey, what are those? Are those people commenting? Come on, where's our comments?
Oh, that is people that people are watching and they're liking it and it's coming through on messages and we're both getting that.
Ding,
ding, ding, ding. So our next guest is somebody that we both consider a friend. She's been up hanging out with you after tripping around down in the States. I don't want to say too much because it's part of what we're going to talk about in the first half. And she's been having a blast touring around with her son and doing her own medicine and integration work. And she has gladly come along to share her experiences with us. And I'm pretty excited to hear about them. I'm sure Steve has already heard about them and he's been there for some of them. And I'm excited to get some of the full stories and have them shared with everybody.
Me too. Because you know me, I just do all the babbling and she just sits there nicely and smiles and lets me babble. So I get to hear the stories now too.
You know what? Knowing you as well as I do, I should have known that. But so without further ado, we'll bring our guest on, a returning guest. She's come to see us before, but when she's come to see us before, it's been pretty much all about us, our trip with Cambo, our integration afterwards, and this time it is all about her, and I can't wait to hear her stories. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Ashley Vibes. Hi, Ashley.
Hi, thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
It's been such a pleasure, honestly, hanging out with Steve the last couple of weeks, and really excited to see you here tomorrow. It's like one more sleep. I feel like Christmas or something.
Yeah. feel like that every time I'm heading out west. It's like a second home to me. So it's I love being there. I love the vibe. It's definitely, I think it's definitely because that's where I found my psychedelic medicine, and that's where I found a beautiful step to my healing, a bunch of beautiful steps to my healing. Made a bunch of really great friends, and so the Vancouver area feels like home already.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that because I actually used to live here. In fact, I lived in Nanaimo, which is on Vancouver Island, when I heard the call to get sober. So you had the call to medicine. I had the call to quit drinking and all that stuff. I already had programmed in that the medicine was the way I was going to do that. But it still meant the commitment of leaving everything I had done behind. A part of that was my ego and parts of myself, but it also meant this lifestyle and friends and a whole bunch of other stuff. But the voice that came through from the water was just saying, like, you have to go home to the roots of where everything happened. The reason why you feel like shit, the reason why you can't say no, the reason why everything is at the roots, and that means you have to go home. And so I did, and now it's like full circle. This is the first time I've been back. I haven't had a chance to like even fully think of that. So thank you, Cindy, for sharing it.
You know what? One of the things that we should do while I'm out there, let's go to Vancouver Island. Let's go. Let's go. Let go of that old Ashley completely. Maybe have a ceremony on the water where you heard the voice. I think that would be.
I lived right there on the beach. I walked it every single day. It's right by the ferry. So
that should be a plan.
Yeah, awesome. I know what song we'll listen to too.
Oh, I'm all excited. I got chills already. That's fantastic.
There's a song by Kid Rock when I was trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to sell all my stuff and all that? I was like walking up this hill because everything's like hilly. And I was listening to Kid Rock, Roll On. It's like all about leaving the past behind, Roll On Roller Coaster. And he's talking about this time of his life where he's in his 30s, which is where I'm at now. At that time, I was in my 20s. So it's so crazy, like so many flashbacks. This was meant to happen. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we should write a letter to old, or you should write a letter to old Ashley that we can burn and send to her.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Let's do it. I'll start working.
Plan. This is going to be amazing. I'm so excited that I get to be part of this with you. It'll be really beautiful. And you've inspired me, because I live in the town where my trauma started. So you've inspired me to do the same. I'm going to write a letter to 6-year-old Cindy, and I'm going to go send it to her at the water too. So thank you for that, Ashley.
Yeah. Oh, that's so exciting. We could do it while we're on the ferry, and then it's just like goes.
It'll be beautiful. It'll be spectacular.
And then we could do like a thank you flower on the way back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. We'll figure it out.
It'll come together the way that it should, and it'll be absolutely beautiful.
But that's how you know the excitement's there, because the mind starts going. It's like, oh my God, we can do this and that.
The idea hit, and it's just kind of like, yes! And Steve is just sitting there quiet for the first time since I've met him, watching us.
I'm trying to learn to make space.
So, Ashley, I have been watching your beautiful journey, being your friend on Facebook and Instagram and in person, of course, but I've been watching it, through your photos, through your Finn's videos and his write-ups that I'm sure that Mom helps with just a little bit.
But it's nice to do like the have the remembering or like the reflection of the day, which has become a nice part of our practice. So
it's beautiful, and it's nice that you guys are doing it together. So you're doing it from his perspective, not necessarily yours, and that's pretty cool, because the world through the eyes of a 7-year-old is something completely different than it is through a 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old.
I really wanted to have it of where after the story was written, he would because I was helping him with that part, but he was telling me, or I'd like ask him questions and he'd like help me fill it in. And I wanted it like all recorded in his voice, but that became something really hard to do. Just like, and I don't want to fight. I want everything to be so fun for him still.
Yeah.
But that is a goal in the future, because I'm starting to understand that, you know, that is how education comes into it. Because
Yes.
right now, still been exploring all the different kind of schooling modalities, and I'm
You'll
grateful
find
for
the
the
one that's right for you and him. I'm sure, right?
yeah, every kid's so different, and you know, I've read a lot of books and things, and it's like not everything works for every kid, so you really do have to take your own route.
Which every single parent across Canada found out during a couple year period that their kids were sent home to learn. They all learned that they have to learn how their kids learn. And I said the word learn a lot, but it was necessary for all of that. Part of your journey, you went down and met in person somebody who has been a guest both on mine and Steve's show and on your show. He's a gentleman that Steve knew of, introduced me to through doing the show and whatnot. And this is a gentleman that works primarily with psilocybin. He's got the Church of Psilocybin, James Hinn, and he took you through your first bufo.
Yes.
And I am dying to hear all about it.
Okay. Oh, this is so great. I'm glad that it's with you too. So literally you too. And everyone else who's in, but you know, this is like a really comfortable space, and we all do hold space for each other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I met James through I think it was through Instagram originally, and then I created, or was called by the mushrooms to create this network on a decentralized platform when a lot of things started getting centralized, and I was already having problems. I had already been kicked off Twitter long before everything. Like, this is years ago, for stuff like talking about deodorant. And then there was LinkedIn kicked me off, like a whole bunch of places. So I'm like, decentralized platform was the message that was coming through. So I did it, found Signal. He was one of our first members. So we've been together for like a long time, and we've really built a beautiful community there together. And so it was really exciting to get the chance to like meet anybody from that group, but specifically him, because when I had him on my show, The Integration Station, he started talking about Silo Temple, which is great. It's amazing, like the work that they're doing down there, the help that they're able to offer is just incredible. But he was also talking about Bufo, and shortly before, I had met you two for Cambo, and I always get like something that's a frog to gift to the people that I'm working with that medicine. And I came across one that was a toad. And so I knew that you had worked with Bufo, Cindy, and I'm like, oh, I need to give this one to her. But when I had it, even though that was my intention, and I bought it with that intention, because I'll buy something for somebody else way before I'll buy it for myself. But when I had it, it said, no, Ashley, this is for you, and you're going to work with Bufo. And then so when I had that with James, I was like, oh, he's the guy, because there was already that. I already know him. I already like him. You know, I already trust him. So that's the formula for this work, or to, you know, be able to, you know, have that comfort zone to be able to be vulnerable in those spaces with somebody. So I knew I was ready. I had a trip planned. I knew I'd be on the road with my son. So that gave me a destination and a bit of a dream, which did come true. And when I got there, I got to meet him and his girlfriend, Jordan, who's a Kundalini yoga teacher. So that was great, too. It was another thing that just reminded me of what it took to get sober. It wasn't just the medicine. It's like Kundalini yoga was my integration tool. That's what kept me sober. That's what helped me integrate life and any kind of trauma. And, you know, I got to bring that more out and share that with more people. And so that was like something to remind me. I knew a synchronicity. I knew I was in the right place with the right people at the right time, and I felt comfortable for the medicine. James also works with sound healing, so there was a lot I really got out of this. We did some breath work, some meditation. I fasted prior, and part of that also, in that fast, I was setting an intention, but even more so, like unknowingly in my environment, Finn and I, even though we were spending a lot of time together, there was a disconnect. There was like a lot of, I was becoming like the villain in his story because I was the person saying no. And in our kind of lifestyle, there is no, and there is rules, and there is ways that you have to treat somebody. And I was not being like treated very well in that situation, and I knew that was part of my trauma coming up. So I recognized, oh, that was like the victim still there. That is something that I have to work on. If that's to the place that I go, that's a default mode. When something's happening, I just stow up and stuff. So I was realizing these things were coming up in my environment. I'm like, oh, that also has to go into the intention thing. And I was bringing gratitude to it, even though it was a hard situation. And because he was just throwing a temper tantrum, but anybody could call the cops or something like that, and so it becomes a scary thing. And you just gotta like stay cool and calm, but it's hard. And so to go to that place, it's like I recognize it. Okay, I got work to do there. I got work to do with my son. I want to connect with my son. Let's get him around influences that are, can help with this and reinforce some of the seeds that have been planted, because it's not enough coming from just one person. It does take a community, a tribe to raise a kid. You can't do it all on your own. So there was this humbling and all of this stuff that was coming up. So I just started messaging James. I was like, this and this and this went on. I was like, I did like a total purge. When I got there, I had felt better, but I still had some things that I had to talk through because I was scared. And then we went into it. He showed me the medicine. It was these beautiful shards of like translucent glass. It's a very beautiful thing, and that is like just the beginning of how much it shatters reality. And he was telling me stories about when he was in Mexico learning how to use the medicine, his journey to get there. He was sharing stories about the toad itself, and how it actually hibernates like 11 months out of the year. There's a lot here, and there's so much to learn. It goes so much further than just like our need and desire to use it for medicine. There's so much to learn. Like Steve says, oh, we're just like puny little humans.
We are puny little humans.
Yeah. And so he filled up the clear pipe with this medicine, and used a torch when he was ready to vaporize it so I could inhale. And he walked me through how to do that. We had done some breath work before this, so I was already taking those breaths. And when I breathed in the first time, like I watched it and I knew that it wasn't enough. So I went back, and he's like, yeah, let's go for like the second inhale. And I was going slow, and I held it, and I felt myself like completely leave and let go. I went down onto the blanket in bed that he had, and I rolled over to my stomach, which is different from what I normally do. It's like what they say about like waking up on the other side of the bed. It's like I was in a position I really wasn't used to. And so, and it does have like significance for me.
Yep.
So I went down in that position and I could feel myself, you know, you get the visuals and stuff. So I knew I was in it. I was able to put myself down. I'd recognize like some of the stuff to know what to do. But I remember I went to go grasp at the deck and put my fingers between, like, you know, those crevices. And what came through was, you're grasping. Like, don't grasp, like, just go in. And so I made the choice, like, consciously, just don't do that. And I laid down, I actually relaxed. And it was quite beautiful. The more I relaxed, the more sound started coming out of me. At first, it was just like grunts and like sounds, and then eventually that turned into tears and sobbing and like deep crying, stuff that I hadn't done, and I didn't need to know. I didn't need to, nothing, you know. That's all it was. It just was, and I just was. And I could hear a dog in the background howling, and I could feel myself in that dog energy. Like, even though I didn't have the energy in my body because I wasn't in my body, I felt like even deeper screams and the stuff I couldn't do because I was surrendered to the crying coming out of that dog. It was like the craziest thing. It was so beautiful. And in this time, while my son's here, I may add, Jordan was there, the Kundalini teacher, taking care of Finn in that time. So he was there for ceremony. When I was in, and I first went in, you know, or I guess into when I allowed the medicine in, and I left into the DMT world. James started the music right away, which actually really resonates with Finn. So he wanted to come out, but they explained, just like, have a little space for mom to do a little bit of healing right now. And it really wasn't that long. Eventually, he did come out and he joined and was playing music with James. And so that was quite beautiful. And James was explaining what the different ones do. And, you know, some of the instruments, like, I would hear the city, like in this one, I would hear the city, all this noise. And then eventually that noise would turn into the wave. And waves are noisy too, but it's a different at peace. So I think in my body, it was making that change to say, you know, what feels overstimulating in the city can have the silence and peace of a wave, which is also loud, but we can find the peace in it. You know, there's a lot of really important things that came through in this journey. And one of them, come the end, was, you're not done. That was just the beginning.
Welcome to the new rabbit hole. Yeah, I understand what you mean, as I'm planning at least 2 DMT trips when I come out to BC, and it's number like 8 or something. I don't know.
And some of that'll scare viewers as well, but in the view that I've developed of it myself, because with complex PTSD, it's built in layers. Yeah. And every time we do a medicine, it allows access to a layer, sometimes two, you know, sometimes it's deep, sometimes it's not as deep, but it allows you to release a layer of what you've built around you from the trauma. And because I've had people say, well, how many times do you have to do the medicine? It's, how many times do you have to do the medicine till you're comfortable in your skin? And for everybody, that's going to be different. You know, it's finding your peace in the chaos.
I also might add to that I've met people that have done it once, and they've gone on, and years later they're still quite happy and they're still reaping the benefits for it. I myself, I came out of my first when I go beyond like the LSD or the mushrooms, when I came out of that first big grandfather psychedelic iboga DMT trip, I mean, I had that peace for about 14 months. And I thought that I was going to be one of those people that didn't get called back.
Yes, exactly.
Right? And then I got called back. And I say that I'm planning more simply because I'm going for education so I can serve. Part of the education is partaking. So that's why I am so excited, and I get so excited to plan it. And I love to hear about people's journeys and people's trips, and it's very exciting. Yeah. So you may take some, and you may be going along fine, and then you may feel a call to go back to it, and that's just because that layer is ready. You're ready.
You've become comfortable in that layer, and now you've noticed your next level of dysfunctionalities or bad patterns, right? You're better than you were, but for a while it feels like you're better.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh, I'm just better than I was, and there's a whole nother layer, and I want to get there because this layer feels mother good.
Yes, you're allowed to swear on our show, Steve.
Yeah. And like, here's the thing about the integration work is you can maintain those layers as you go, but like you also have to like learn lessons so that you can navigate like as life tests you, because it does. You know, and this is where the medicine helps with that too, is like not only are you helping cleanse some of the old layers, you're exploring new territory for yourself and for the generations coming.
Yes, you're not just healing yourself,
but you're further
your family.
Yeah. And we're doing that work for the 7 generations before us as well. Some of this work that I do, even with Cambo, like that wasn't my own. When I went in for Cambo, my initiation was 3 days, and the first day and the third day were specifically ancestral work. The second day and the third day was my own body work. But the third day, my ancestors were coming through strong with messages while I was doing that body work. And the first day was just a black, dark purge. And that's what was said, is that is just like family karma. And we don't want to be carrying around karma. Karma is like a brick in a house. In the big picture, it's just a brick. And we think whenever we make an action or do something, or that's all it is. It's just like one brick. But if you carry that brick around with you day after day after day after day, it's like a glass of water. It gets heavy over time. Like, it's just a glass of water, whatever. But if you're carrying that around, like, you get tired. And the more that you're doing that, the more fatigued you get. And so we add this load to ourselves continuously whenever we're doing stuff out of alignment with who we are, is creating this karma. But when we're doing this medicine work, what we're doing is like fixing that foundation in the home. And sometimes we have to demolish that foundation. Sometimes we have something that was given to us that we can work with. No matter what, there's still something to be grateful for, because you have the space. You have this flesh vehicle, this body, this mind, this soul. Yeah. Thanks for letting me rant. There's an Ashley rant.
Well, it takes us to perfect timing for a break.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll see you guys in a bit.
Yes. Oh, this is shit.
I guess it's break time. Time to check out our sponsors and pay some bills. You're here with us live on the Mushie Moment on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Boxcast, CBG TV, paceradio.net, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Cannabis edibles are an effective way to manage pain and other ailments, especially when you deal with your trusted partner, Legacy 420, in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. You see, we lab test every product on site to ensure proper dosage every time, which is critical when consuming cannabis edibles. All Legacy 420 edibles are made by our classically trained baker and chocolatier, and we also have super tasty vegan options.
Our baker has been in the industry for 25 years. She's also a chocolatier. Everything from savory to sweet, your chocolate bars, brownies, butter tarts, you name it, we make it.
Talk to our knowledgeable Canitex about our incredible variety available. Give your trusted partners a call. Legacy 420 out on your road.
In February of 2022, the Victoria Cannabis Buyers Club and Ted Smith were fined $6.5 million. This for helping 8,500 patients with access to medical cannabis. In our interview with Ted, he spoke to us about how people can donate to help in an upcoming court challenge. And here is part of that interview. From what I've seen lately, I believe that you've got something that you're trying to do as far as fundraising to deal with this next court challenge.
For now, people can write checks directly to Jack Lloyd Law Corporation or send e-transfers to save the VCBC at gmail.com. I guess those are the two easiest ways for people to help right now.
PACE Radio is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBG TV, broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
Welcome back to the Mushie Moment, streaming live to you here at paceradio.net, cbgtv.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Boxcast, Roku, and Firestick. And we're here with today's guest, Ashley.
Welcome back.
Guys.
Yeah, so you had a really great experience with James, it sounds like.
Yeah. And it was so crazy too, because when I left there, we did like the Saturday market in Eugene, which is like famous from the 60s. It's this like beautiful, like maybe like 4 blocks this market goes for. It's crazy to find parking, but I just like pulled over and talked to some locals, and they're like, oh, go in that like parking lot there. They say that they'll ticket you. Like, I love when you get like the whispers that you got to talk to strangers, you know?
Yeah.
And like in good, in like scenes like that, go with your vibe. But, you know, I got like the inside scoop, and I found a spot. It was good. And I sent Steve a message. I say, like, hey, so like I'm in Oregon. We're hitting up the coast. I'll be in BC in like a day or two. And it was like, he was 4 hours from me. It's like he could have been anywhere in BC. I was coming to him, but where he was just so close. We did the coast and came up into here afterwards. That way we got like, had like a little bit more of that because it was beautiful and it's a nicer ride on that scenic part. Oh yeah, Finn has something that he'd like to say.
Mom, did you tell them about the when we missed that you accidentally went to the that you skipped the place? This place?
Oh yeah, when we were pulling in here, GPS kept telling us to go pull into this mall, and I pulled in to his driveway to do a U-turn and try it again. And then it turns out this really was his house, but GPS kept telling me to go out there to where the mall is.
So I met her in a mall parking lot across the street from my house after she turned around in my driveway to drive to that mall parking lot.
Yeah. But it's so crazy because once I got here, one of the first things Steve said to me is, "Are you sticking around for a few days? Because Miriam and her partner Enke are here from Mexico working with Bufo. So the journey must go on." They say the medicine calls, and I've never gone searching for it. It's always just shown up. Yeah. I'd never had to do too much work. It's really guided me. Steve and I were talking about
were always in the beginning, trying to find it the first time, trying to get finding the right one, the right place, the space, but you go on that search and you do your research and you ask, and I had a few that looked like it was going to happen, and some weirdness happened, and then it's like, oh, boom, it just falls into place and works the way it's supposed to. I know I have future dealings with one of the people from earlier, but I know that those will happen when I'm ready.
When they're ready. Yeah. Yep. For sure. So one of the other things that happened that we discussed talking about on air, it's kind of happened to different people, but I said we should put our activist coats on and talk about it. Ashley did a podcast because she has one called oh my goodness, everything's leaving me right now.
The Integration Station.
Integration Station. It was just the name of your company that kept coming to my mind, not the name of the show, right? It's not called Elemental Growth, which is her website, and you can go check it out. But you were doing the Integration Station, and you had guests on Mayhem and Cease. Mayhem and Cease, and they ended up deleting it and giving you a warning, and you have, if you show one more thing that they don't like, they're going to shut you down.
Yeah, I'm one more strike and you're out right now. And here's the thing. This has been happening to me personally for a while. But I take it as validation that I'm doing the right thing, because I understand that there's a lot of corruption going on, and the censorship stuff this, it's been going long before a lot of people have noticed it, a long time before there was fact checkers, whoever they are, whatever system that is. But I got it on Facebook many times with sharing the chemicals that were in deodorants, sharing recipes on how to make deodorants, something so simple and innocent and helpful. I couldn't understand it. I'm not sure what happened with Twitter. I'm not sure what happened that I got taken down. But I can't use my email to start a new account or anything. I don't really care to make a new one just to be on there. I don't care that much. And same with LinkedIn. Something happened there, and I can't get back on. And this was all prior to any of that the stuff that's happened in the last few years. So this YouTube one is quite new. It was the trucker protest that gave me my first strike for sharing people's live feeds and just little collaborative things that I would put together. So that was my first strike. And then yesterday with Cease and Mayhem, Steve here, that one just got it too for medical disinformation. medical misinformation. I can't remember their term. And they said, one more strike, you're out. They've got me in the thing. They said that they viewed the content. There's, it's just is the way that it is. But it's okay because we back everything up onto Odyssey here on the radio station. Everything still makes it onto the websites, and, it still stays in flow. It's unfortunate that, there isn't more free speech. I was like an old school, like, protester when all like the anonymous hacker stuff like was going on. I would go to those marches, I'd say like TV is a weapon of mass distraction and fluoride's not in the water because they love us. But like today a big thing is not having the right to free speech, and they're actually changing the schooling system and leaving out cursive on purpose, because if kids today don't understand cursive writing, then how are they going to know what our rights are as humans? And our rights are what we make them. It's not what's on a piece of paper. So it goes far beyond that. It's a very personal thing. What you will and will not allow. This is one thing that psychedelics bring to the table, is that they liberate us, right? Liberty caps are called that for a reason. And, so there's a lot of beauty going on here. But there is this dark side, this corruption as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm actually coming to you from my backup Facebook account, because Facebook just completely, while again, it was a podcast of mine and Steve's was being aired on my personal page. Somebody complained about it and they wiped out my entire Facebook. Just gone.
And no option to say anything. It's just
no. And there's no email that I can email. I couldn't download my pictures. Like they took everything away, just because they didn't like what we were talking about.
Yeah. Well, here in Canada, they're pushing Bill C-47. I think it got royal assent. I've got to look a little more into it because I haven't been bothering to really do the research. But they're starting to take a view at natural supplements and go in the direction of banning stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see where it all goes. I've just, at this point, I've been working on my own personal healing and just letting that sit where it is, because it is what it is anyway, and I can't really do anything about it. But
well, here's why like psychedelics are illegal, right? Is because they help us to realize that the laws that are in place don't actually matter. Is it, if you're passionate about what you do, are you going to stop helping people heal naturally with the herbs that are grown naturally from the earth? No. Then who cares about the drama? And that's what the psychedelics do. They say that's drama. That's no data. Just because they put up like these gates and have soldiers there doesn't mean that there are borders. There's no fucking borders between like North and South America. Do you know what might be a border? Would be like the ocean surrounding the islands or something like that. But like, this stuff isn't real. It's just
we make them.
illusion. It's Maya.
It's all man-made.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all man-made. It's all laws that people who want to control have. We take a look at, like I followed Steve's journey when he was down in Mexico for months, and the freedoms that were when we were all on lockdown, and there was the threat of military making sure we were on lockdown. Here's Steve running around Mexico free and clear. They've got no masks. They've got no forced injections. They've got none of it was happening down in Mexico. So it's an America thing, maybe a few other countries.
Well, when I first went down there, they had a big upswing of COVID, and then they implemented a bunch of policy which dropped it 80% in 2 weeks. But when I came back to Canada and spoke about it, I got stomped on my social media. I brought ivermectin back. It was being given out down there. It was being given out because it was showing that it dropped it 80% in 2 weeks. But when I got back here and I said, "Hey, I brought some back," it was a different story up here. I was a horse dewormer, sheep dewormer, conspiracy theory, blah blah blah, whatever it turned into.
Yeah.
But and I know that's an area of contention with a lot of people. I don't even know if we should really be dancing in that area. It is an area of contention with a lot of people.
But personally, I think that's why we need to dance in it, because it's where it's not being talked about and things aren't being opened up and things aren't honest. That to me is the same thing as psychedelics. They're trying to hide psychedelics in a closet. Well, they shouldn't do that. They're trying to hide anybody that talks about psychedelics in a closet. And again, they shouldn't do that. COVID is a very large issue. And instead of hiding it in a closet, we should talk about it. What we should hide in the closet is the hate and the rage and the anger that go with it. And we should be able
to go out in the forest and have a rage ritual. Like it's okay to dance in that too, but what's not okay is to project it onto somebody else.
Exactly. Like we should be able to have a conversation. And I have conversations with people that truly believe everything that the government is teaching them. And there's nothing I can say. So, I mean, like I said, okay, I accept you for who you are. Please accept me for who I am. And we go on and we're friends. We don't have to agree. We go out to eat. They will wear their masks until the food comes to the table. And I'm okay with that because they're okay with me not wearing my mask until so yeah. I think, and sadly, it's not the world we live in. But, I believe that we should be free to have the discussion and agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's not truly that way. And I get that.
No, but there is always going to be that duality. The sooner that we can accept that, the sooner we can go about being like putting more focus on our health and happiness instead of on all the fear. That's like one of the big things that's being pushed is this fear. Religions have been doing it to us for years. The media has been doing it to us for years. The propagandists, it's just our parents because of their conditioning. Yeah. It's crazy. It's so crazy.
Fear makes people spend money.
Yeah, and those who create the problem create a lot of money on the solution.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where things get real fun is when you can follow the money and you see that, sometimes the solutions are patented before the problem even erupts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think where people really need to be more aware with just their money aspects, because I know with dealing with people go, oh, well, supplements are expensive and getting better is expensive and healing is expensive and everything is expensive. Everything. But the only real vote we have anywhere is with that dollar we spend.
Yeah, every dollar is a vote.
Products, they'll quit making toxic products. If we're not accepting the plastic garbage, they'll quit making the plastic garbage. But we can only vote with our dollar because that's the only language on that level that's understood. But people don't realize that. People go, oh, gas is really high today. And they still fill up. Don't. If it's really high, don't fill up. Put in $20. Yes, it's an inconvenience. Put $20 in every day because it's going to back up at the pumps. It's going to back up all the way back. They're not stopping or slowing down how much they're making. What happens is the reserves back up. And then they need to sell some and prices will come down. We don't have a lot of ways to vote with our money because there's a lot of control over the system. But there's little ways in there that you can make differences. And the biggest one is spend your money on what you value, not what you want most, what you value most.
Now we got to get it.
I want a big screen. That's all I want. Well,
no, it's not. That's the Jones effect in hypnotism. That's like in Aladdin when Jafar has that thing and has the sultan under his hypnosis. Doesn't that piss you off? It pissed off the princess, pissed off the rugrat or street rat.
Yeah.
there's so much to say here. I'd love to like hear and like banter a little bit more on the solutions of like how to vote with your dollar when it comes to real estate right now, and also with your food, because our food is like another thing that's really being corrupted. And there's so much land being bought up by the people who have the money right now to make these 15-minute cities, so that we're more dependent and more slave.
An easy thing to do to stand up against the rising food prices is farm markets. Go buy directly from the farmer.
Hey, Mom.
It's a great way. Like, I mean, number one, you're getting real food, you're getting good food, and that you're not paying gourds of money to the government. You're just going right to the farmer, taking fresh produce that has either, meat that's either just been slaughtered, grown organically, or food that has just been harvested. I mean, and you get to take it home and you get to eat it while it's at its best. So we have one, like, I mean, it's a small way, but it's it can make a large impact if we all start shopping at farm markets. And
you can money on seeds and grow your own. Grow what you can.
Yeah, growing your own is great because seeds always give you like 500 times the amount of what the initial investment was. When you buy food from the grocery, if you are homesteading, you can regrow from that food that you bought, from the scraps. You can make all your own stocks. There's like there's a lot to do there when it comes to the farmers too. Like, a lot of the feedback that I get is that it's still really expensive, and sometimes that they're buying stuff right from the real grocery stores and reselling it for a higher price. But here's the thing: if you find local farmers, not just your farmers market, you can make deals and like barter your goods. This is going to be the new financial system, because not everybody's going to go along with this digital currency the same way. Not everybody's going to be able to afford to be in that system or agree to it or fit in their rules when they control all the money in that way and can just press a button that says, no, not today, you're cut off. They did that to the truckers. That video that got taken down, they did that to them where they froze their bank accounts. Trudeau did that.
Not even them, but I had friends that bought the t-shirts, literally just bought a t-shirt that supported the truckers, spent $15 on a t-shirt that supported the truckers, and their bank accounts got frozen.
Thank you for sharing that.
Wow.
Because, this is something to consider, when we can barter with our farmers, support our community, that's so much more important. And it doesn't just need to be locally. You can find people who are doing good stuff online and spend your money there instead of, Amazon or anything. Like, I love Walmart. Walmart's great because I get to sleep there. I get Wi-Fi when I go there. There's so many benefits to Walmart, but they are a monopoly. Like, they take a lot away from the individuals who have those skills. I think they're like one of the better companies, but like, still, it's a monopoly. It's like what Amazon's doing right now. Whenever they see that a lot of people are buying a specific thing, they make their own brand and just put it a little bit cheaper, so then they own the money game.
Yeah.
They're doing their data research. We're giving them that research. Who's paying us?
Oh, we get it in cheap prices.
We're getting paid via the discount on their own Amazon product. That 5 cents we're saving, that's our paycheck.
There we go.
It's funny. So what about with the housing market? Because we got like people buying up land right now to make these 15-minute cities. How do we vote with our dollar?
Oh, it's not just that, but I mean, I live in a tiny little province, and I have people in my province that are displaced because we have Canadians, God bless their souls, who have lived in Vancouver or Ottawa or Toronto, and they're saying, hey, look, I can sell my home for $2.3 million. And and I can go buy a bigger home for $0.3 million and have $2 million in my account. Well, I don't care if that home is falling down. I can spend the $100,000 to fix it. I'll buy that sight unseen. Oh, they're asking 260 and everybody else is coming in at 265. Just offer them 3. It'll be okay. And because of that, the housing market here in Nova Scotia has gone through the roof. The home I am sitting in right now is a $240,000 home. On the market, I could probably get $500,000 or more for this right now, because we have people coming from Ontario, basically Ontario and BC, that are buying things sight unseen, because they're ending up with such a, they've got the foreigners coming in and buying their home to create, their home is being torn down to create these high rises. So they're taking
where you are, Steve. Like you're on the other coast, Vancouver, and this is where, it's a lot of the immigrants are coming in, and nothing against them. Like, I don't care, we all bleed red, we're all the same. But it is like changing the environment.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And the government got greedy and they allowed money laundering.
Yeah.
So it's not just people buying up the property, it's money laundering people. So there's a lot of gangsters that are taking the gangster money and just moving it into land. And it's, there's gangsters from every nationality. And when there's an opening where you got greedy people that are going to sell off their land, for the fund coupons that they've been illegally getting, they're going to make that transfer. How do you launder that cash? Turn it into land. The land is always worth something. Those fund coupons, when this economy crashes, those dollars aren't worth anything anyway. So,
it's worth something until we have the government come in and do something like they did in Colombia, which was raise the tax dollars so high that the farmers had to leave their land, the land that's been in their families generation after generation. That is their land. Who's to say you can't afford to live there because you don't pay taxes? WTF? Like, that is the craziest thing.
This is their really land. Interesting conversation. And I would love to let it go on, but we are at that time that I have to speak up. I have no choice. And I have to let Steve say what he's going to say. Ashley, I would love to have you back on and continue this conversation, because you've just triggered like 5 things in my head that I'm not even allowed to say. That's why my arms are crossed. So I
guess it's that time again. Thank you for joining us here on the Mushie Moment with my co-host Cindy, myself Steve, our awesome guest Ashley from elementalgrowth.org. And we're proud to be coming to you live from paceradio.net, cbgtv.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Boxcast, Roku, and Fire Stick. We'll see you next week with more exciting guests, healing information, and much love.
Bye.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast